Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to my next video on presentation files and exploded views and the animations that come along with them. I'm just going to hop right into this and explain the importance of things as I go along. So you're just going to go right up to New, make a new file. Computer's being a bit slow. I've got a lot of shit open right now. Okay. You've already made your standard. You made your standard parts before, and you've made your standard assemblies and your drawings before. But I'm sure the one file you probably haven't touched is presentations. They're right here at the bottom. Today we're going to be opening up a standard millimeter presentation. It's a .ipn file. You'll see what presentation files are for once we get into it. They're actually very simple, and they're essentially, well, it's in the name, they're just used for presentation purposes. Mainly, what I've used them for is creating exploded views for drawings. And you can actually make animations for these exploded views. Okay, I'm going to go Workshop 3, go into your starting files, and we're going to go, let's find maybe other parts, and let's try to make an exploded view for our suspension bogie assembly. That's the same piece that we would have made in Workshop 1. So just double click it, open it up, and the presentation file should open everything up for you, and you should get into a new looking window like this. You'll see a storyboard at the bottom. Don't worry, this will become more relevant as we go along and work. So just view the suspension bogie however you wish. You can view it like this or like this, however you wish. I'm going to go with the standard isometric view with the front on my bottom right here. And so what I want to do to make an exploded view, basically I want all these parts to be stretched, like not stretched, well, pulled out from one another so that you can see the assembly process and see other parts underneath that you can't quite make out from this isometric view. For example, if I look down here, I can see my washer, and I've got two bearings in here and everything, right? But you can't see that from this view. So the exploded view just usually serves as the front page for an assembly drawing, which is what we're going to be making, and it just shows how all the pieces are put together, and it's a great way to just show all the different parts of your assembly in one place. Anyways, we're going to go up to the Tweak Components button. Ignore all this other stuff for now because it has no direct use for exploding the model. So we're going to go to Tweak Components, and now in this, basically what Tweak Components is, it'll let you select any of these parts and pull them apart however you wish. Now, it's important to note that when you're doing this process, it's good to do it in sequential order, so that if you wanted to make an animation or something like that, it'll save in sequential order. Basically, every time I make a tweak, the storyboard down here will add a new component. I will show you. We'll get started. So if I wanted to explode this screw, or this bolt rather, out of the arm piece, all I would have to do is click it. Now that I've clicked it, you can see that there's arrows here. They're a bit hard to see in this mode. I'm actually going to go up to View real quick. I'm going to change my visual style to Shaded with Edges. I'm going to turn on Shadows, just to make my life a bit easier. Going back to Presentation, and now, basically, I can explode this. So if I wanted to explode it this way, I could do that. It gives you your distance here, but I'm not going to explode it that way, because, why would I do that? I'm going to explode it outwards this way, because that's naturally the way you would assemble it, right? Like, it would go from out here to in there, and that's essentially what you're trying to do. So I'm just going to set a distance for this. Since this is the only piece we really need to explode here, it doesn't really matter as long as it's away from the base piece. By the way, Essentially, for most exploded views, you typically want to choose a base part that doesn't move and everything else moves away from it. That's how a lot of things are made. So just for the purposes of this, our arm part here is going to be the part that does not move. We don't have to do anything to it. We don't have to ground it or anything like that. We're just going to refrain from moving it. Now, after I've set this to be 50 millimeters outwards, I don't actually have to click this check mark. I don't have to do that. What I can do is I can just click on the next part and just keep on editing. So I'm going to give myself a lot of space, and I'm going to pull this bolt out maybe 125. Whoops. Whoa. That's freaky. I'm going to make it, if it goes the wrong direction, a easy fix I like to do is just put a negative in front of it. Anyways, yeah. So usually you want to pull it out like a good distance, because you should know however many parts are in your assembly and how much space you'll have in between them to represent all the parts you have. So this looks like a good distance. We can come back and edit it later if we need to. I'm going to go right ahead and pull this bearing outwards as well. So usually you want to pull it to a point where there's still a visible gap in between it, like a gap meaning you can see the background in between it and the part you've exploded. So let's make this maybe, can we get away with 90? Nah, let's do 85. So now that we've got this part out, we can just go on to the next part. You should be able to tell just by logic what part to pull next. We're going to pull out the wheel and maybe say, let's do 50 for the wheel. Now we're pulling out the next bearing, and see, now our space is getting a little bit cramped because we still have to pull out this washer. For now, I'm going to pull out the bearing about 20 millimeters. I'll pull out the washer maybe 10 millimeters. Now, at this point, I'm going to click check mark. This isn't perfect, right? It looks kind of inconsistent because over here is a bit more squished than out here. We typically want consistent spaces in between all of it because it's all squished together in the first place anyways. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to find, oops. Okay, actually, yeah. Let's check out the tweaking that we've made. So what I'm going to do, you see this button down here, just play the current storyboard and watch what happens. Basically, for every tweak that I made, it has a set time of how long it takes for this tweak to be pulled out from the base part, and it makes it into a nice little animation. It's pretty cute actually. If you go here and you pull out the bottom until you get to a point where you can see all the tweaks to your items, I'm going to even pull mine out a bit more because now I don't really need to work with the assembly anymore. I just need to work with the storyboard. Now down here you can see it made items for each of the tweaks I made. So if I wanted to, I could go down here and I could edit the first tweak I made, right? That's for the first screw. I go to edit tweak, and you can change the distance, or you go down here. Yeah, mainly changing the distance is what we want to do. Now if I skip ahead to what my final exploded view looked like, I mentioned there was a bit of problems because this area gets a bit squished. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to pull out all of these components. Okay, so I'm going to tweak this first component. I'm going to bring it out maybe 10 more millimeters. So I go here and I click 135. Now I actually have to click the check mark so that it saves, and you see that it's been stretched out a bit more. So I'm going to be doing this for each of the parts, and I can just go through them one by one. Go to the wheel now. I'm going to pull them out 10 millimeters each and see if that's enough. It should probably be enough. Here we go. Okay, awesome. This looks great actually. So now this is the spacing I wanted to fix. So let's build out maybe 5 instead. And that looks gorgeous. Absolutely phenomenal. Great job, everyone. You've just created a exploded view. Now, the thing is, exploded views are for assembly drawings, right? So what we need to do is we need to get this model into a drawing. And if you've been looking around your file, you might have seen this handy dandy button up top that says Create Drawing View. It is literally as easy as it sounds. You click it, it's going to ask you to save your presentation file. I'm going to save it as Suspension Bogie 2. Save it, and then pick your drawing. I'm going to go up to the Metric tab and find my ANSI millimeter.dwg. Oh, see, now that I've tried to open this up, the problem is I haven't created a snapshot for my presentation, so it doesn't really know what exactly it wants because I haven't defined a view for it. So basically, if you go back here, what you can do is you can create different viewpoints rather to put into your drawing. So let's say if I only wanted to show that this bolt comes out, I could keep it like this, and I could go up here and I could click New Snapshot View. And see, once I clicked that, you'll see it created a snapshot over here. And you can basically do that for anything. Typically what you want to do is just get one of your final explosion, wait till everything's out in place, and there you go. Then you click New Snapshot View, and this is what you do. Easy peasy. Then I'm going to go back to create a new drawing. You don't actually have to create a new drawing. I could have just like fixed it in my other drawing, but it's just quicker to do this really because I didn't really have anything else on the drawing. So you'll see that my snapshot is actually like appropriate now. In an isometric view, it's got all the exploded lines, everything's out in the right place, and I'll make my scale 1.5 for now, and let's keep it like that. And usually for first and second year, you're going to want a more standard size sheet, so just go to size B. Everything should be shrunken down a bit more, and bam, you've just got the start of an assembly drawing. You've got your exploded view. You can label this exploded view however you want. We're going to be doing more stuff with this exploded view and drawings in general in the next video. So I'll see you there. Thanks for watching.